All right, welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're trying to completely level up your PvP skills, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're diving deep into the ultimate Hive Skywars Masterclass, how to win every game. We're going to break down the exact strategies, the mechanics, and that crucial game sense you need to start winning every single match.
So let's be totally honest for a second here. Are you tired of losing your Hive Skywars 1v1s? Because while a lot of people think Skywars is a pretty simple game, it's actually one of the most complicated game modes out there. The gap between an amateur and a pro, it's all in the tiny details. And today, we are going to bridge that gap entirely.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with 1, the Skywars Foundation, then move right into 2, mastering redstone mechanics. From there, it's 3, advanced block placements, 4, bows and boomboxes, 5, defense and edge camping, and finally, 6, top player secrets.
Okay, let's dive into part 1, the Skywars Foundation. Loot, load, and go.
So, if you're setting up a 1v1, you've got to use a specific custom server preset. You want only diamond, iron, and redstone on the maps. Now, the absolute basics of establishing the match rely entirely on your speed. You need to quickly loot your chests. I'm talking grabbing everything from TNT to snowballs, arrows, and ender pearls. You want to rush straight to the mid chests right off the bat, or even take a quick detour to side islands to grab some extra utility items. Why does this matter so much? Well, having those extra miscellaneous items translates directly into better game sense and, frankly, it just makes for way less boring fights. And hey, if you aren't fully kitted yet, get mining. Mine diamonds if you're desperate for armor, or mine iron because, trust me, you are going to need a ton of arrows.
Moving right along to part 2, mastering redstone mechanics, the meta.
Okay, we have to talk about redstoning. Popularized by the Zerl glitch, redstoning is literally the act of mining redstone blocks right in the middle of a fight to instantly regenerate 1 or 2 extra hearts of health. Now, I know that sounds small, but this health edge completely changes the momentum of a fight. If you're low on health, it lets you heal up faster and just catches your enemy entirely off guard. Almost every top player uses this trick, and honestly, it's often the literal difference between winning and losing a match.
So how do you actually pull this off? Because you can't just stand there and mine like a sitting duck. First, you have to gain some space from your opponent. You can do this by placing blocks behind you or throwing a knockback boombox, which is super convenient since it won't actually deal damage to you. Second, as you mine the redstone, you absolutely must stay mobile. Do not pause or your opponent is going to catch right up to you. Finally, here's a massive pro move. If your opponent tries to redstone, just place a block right over their redstone ore. This denies their heal, completely ruins their rhythm, and lets you go super aggro to secure that kill.
All right, part 3, advanced block placements. More than just building.
The sheer versatility of blocks in this game is honestly incredible. You can use them to physically stop an opponent's sprint, which instantly kills their momentum and sets them up for some easy hits. You can also build what we call head hitters to drastically reduce the knockback you take. Or try this sneaky trick. Try placing blocks directly beneath you while you're fighting, and you'll take absolutely 0 knockback. Blocks are also amazing for boxing people in so you can control the space, or, of course, to block clutch right beneath yourself if you accidentally get knocked off the map, though quick heads up, you'll definitely need a high CPS to pull that one off. Mastering this one skill will literally translate to any game mode you play.
Next up, part 4, bows and boomboxes, ranged dominance.
Look, mastering the bow fundamentally changes match outcomes, and it really boils down to 2 main strategies. For short range, you only want to slightly hold your right click so the bow acts super fast, kind of like a snowball. This is absolutely perfect for starting combos. A really great tip here is to leave a hit trade, wait for your opponent to pull their bow first, and then hit select their arrow to start your combo. Just keep in mind lower ping players definitely have a bit of an advantage there. Now for long range, it's all about utility. You're knocking off distant opponents, chasing down that one annoying runner sitting on 1 HP, or simply shooting them just to keep track of exactly how much health they have left.
And that perfectly brings us to the depth of the game's utility items, the 4 types of boomboxes. You've got your dynamic chasing tools, which are the slowness and knockback boxes. You throw these to slow down a fleeing enemy, or use the knockback to aggressively launch yourself across islands so you don't have to waste a pearl. Then you've got static trapping, using normal or poison boomboxes. You don't want to throw these, you actually want to place them right on the ground locally so only your opponent gets caught in the blast. Poison is insanely overpowered, by the way. It deals half a heart of damage every single tick. Just, seriously, be very careful not to get caught in your own crossfire.
Part 5, defense and edge camping, surviving the sweat.
So, we all get low on health sometimes. When that happens, your priority has to shift to regenerating and holding them off. That's exactly where edge camping comes in. You might need to burn an ender pearl or a boombox just to retreat to the side islands, but once you're there, you want to maintain the low ground. You aren't necessarily trying to secure a kill here. I mean, knocking them into the void is a great bonus, but your main goal is simply to regenerate your health in a really defensible position so you can reset the fight.
But what if you actually get knocked off? Well, you need to memorize the clutching hierarchy to manage your survival resources. Always attempt to block clutch first before you waste any of your pearls. If you miss and you only have one pearl left, aim for a physical object, like a tree, to guarantee you don't just fall straight into the void. Another really high-level tactic is called downstacking, which is pearling onto the bottom of an island or a downstack bridge. And keep your angles in mind, guys. Diagonal clutches are significantly harder to pull off than straight ones, for sure.
Finally, Part 6. Top Players' Secrets. Advice from the Pros. First up, we have a massive tip from Mr. Monopoly. This is a player who actually peaked at #1 in North America while playing on a controller. His biggest piece of advice is to mine for arrows as much as possible by breaking iron. As we touched on earlier, arrows aren't just for dealing damage. They're honestly your best tool for tracking exactly how much health your opponent has at any given moment.
Next up is top 10 player Floppy Moppy. His secret to mastering the game is all about that internal rhythm and game sense. It's knowing exactly when to play passive, like edge camping to regenerate your health, and when to just flip the switch and play relentlessly aggro, like when you block off an opponent's redstone and completely trap them. Piecing is literally everything in this game.
And to wrap up the pro tips, we have this wonderfully grounded piece of advice from the highly skilled PvP master Coffee Mango. He simply says, touch grass. It sounds like a comedic beat, sure, but honestly, it's a completely legitimate strategy. When you are getting totally overwhelmed by the sweaty mechanics and those crazy fast-paced trades, stepping back, taking a break, and just clearing your head is exactly what you need to come back playing way better than before.
Okay, one final piece of practical advice to take away before we wrap up. Combine all these tactics together, but always keep yourself positioned away from the edge so your opponent is the one forced nearer to the void. And save those snowballs for the very end of a fight. Throwing them at the absolute last second secures those final, critical hits without giving your opponent any chance to react. So, look at everything we've covered today. From redstoning and block clutching to static boombox traps and optimal bow ranges. You've got the tools. You know the secrets straight from the top players. So what is stopping you from mastering the Hive? Get out there, start mining that redstone, and apply these strategies to your next 1v1. Thanks for hanging out and learning with me in this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.